Hey, what's going on, everyone? So I wanted to cover this this information on logging into the SQL server on Nova, the Nova server at UMUC once again, because it can be very confusing, and there at one time was a web interface for the SQLPlus portion of that web interface is no longer available. So I wanted to touch base with this with you guys on how to do this. So let's start at downloading and installing Porta-Putty for UMUC. So all you need to do is go to download this this utility, and it will bring up the Porta-Putty Porta-Putty utility that connects directly to the UMUC server. So let's take a look at that. So this is what you get. So when you double click on Nova, which is the server we're going to log into, that will open up another window to log into that server. But before we do that, let's go back to the create account on Nova, and this gives you very specific information on what you need to do. Now, the first step is to open that utility and then type in new class. That is probably not going to work for anyone. So go ahead and double click Nova, and it's going to say, hey, this is warning potential security breach, blah blah blah. So use the command change pass, CHGPASS, and it's going to give you all this information. It's going to ask you to enter your MyUMUC portal username, and mine is abaird, and I'll enter my password for that portal, and it says, do you want to unlock the Oracle account? You'll say yes. So once again, this is very important to keep track of this password right here. Now notice that that you've got this user account, this account name, to log into Nova, which is going to be different from your UMUC portal account. That's probably going to be the same for everyone. No, I'm sorry. This is going to be a little different. I think it's the last letter is different. But keep track of this password, and I'll show you why. Oops. Try that again. And then when you press enter, it's going to close that window. So you'll open the putty again. Double click on Nova. Yep, got it. And we will enter CM320C for me, and I'll use that password it just gave me. And that password is typically one letter, then one number, one letter, one number, and I need to type it in properly. There we go. Alright, so, and for some reason it has you enter that same password again, so I will do that once again. Okay, and then it's going to have you enter a new password, and that new password is just to log into your initial Nova account. So this is your Nova account, and if you do a pwd, this is a print working directory. It will show you the what directory you're actually in, and then if you do ls minus la, that's equivalent to a dir, and this will show you what is in that location. And I will get rid of that output log. And then at this point, we can go into the Oracle database by typing SQLPlus. Now, as I mentioned before, that initial password is going to that password that it gave you on that change password, change pass login name, reset the login to Nova, to your Nova account and your Oracle SQLPlus account. So we'll type in the CM320C username again and the same password that it gave you on the first pass. Okay, so now we are in Oracle SQLPlus. So at this point you can type the command password to change the password on your Oracle account, and I will do that. Oh, whoops, that's not going to work. Try that again. Though you're logged in already, you still have to type that old password again. I think I might have mistyped that, but we'll see. Okay, new password, and retype the new password, and the password's been changed. Okay, so we'll go ahead and exit out of that, and I'll stay logged into that for a moment, and we'll go back to our bibliography, and we'll go to how to transfer files from your computer to Nova. And this gives you instructions on how to download. There are a few utilities that are available to you, FTP utilities. I use Core FTP. It gives you very specific instructions on how to use that. So when you open this, now I've got this already kind of set up, but now I believe that this defaults to FTP. I might have mentioned this in the previous video, but make sure that you change that to SSH SFTP, because if you connect to FTP, I'm pretty sure that their servers won't allow an FTP connection, but if you connect through FTP, it sends everything in clear text to include your username and password, and that's always bad. So your username is going to be the same username that it gave you when you on that first change pass login name that you used, and then the password is going to be the password for Nova, not the password for the SQL account. Make sure that you keep those straight. And I will change that to my new account and connect and make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. And you see over here that these are the files that are in that directory currently. So if we go back here and do ls-la, you'll see that I've got the same files that are listed. Got history and that SQL file and the student list. Okay. Now that all of that being covered, I want to give you guys a SQL script that will create a small database. So let's take a look at that real quick. Alright, so this is the script that I'm going to share with you guys in this post. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to the syntax of this script. Now, this is the beginnings of SQL and the commands to create tables, as well as the constraints to tie these tables together and to establish the relationships between the tables and effectively building the first database. Now, every SQL script that you guys write is going to have the first line is going to be a spool command to create an output for that file. So in this case, I've got spool output.log, and then now you'll notice that pardon me, I've got 4 drop table commands here that are dropping the tables that I'm about to create, and I do that for a very specific reason. In this Oracle environment, when you create a table, unless you take a step to drop that table before you recreate it again, when you run that create table command again, it's going to say that table already exists. So, and I've seen students that will change the name of that table 15 times, and then they have when they finish testing with all the tables, they have 5,000 tables in their profile. It's in order to prevent that, you can lead all that off with drop table to drop those tables if they do exist. And then, like I said, we've got some constraints in here to establish the relationships between some of the tables, and then the last line is the spool off, and that turns the logging off of any outputs of that the execution in SQLPlus. So we've got this file here. Let me see if that's the right one. Nope. All right, let me copy that over to the right spot. Okay, so we've got the the right SQL file in the proper location. So let's take a look at that real quick. Now notice that when you double click a file, you have the option to view, edit, or transfer. Now I'll go ahead and click on view and see that it is indeed the right file. Now you can double click it again and click on transfer and click OK, or you can just click that guy, drag it over, and put it in that spot, and you'll click on overwrite, and it'll put that file out there. So let's take a look real quick. We will go back to SQLPlus, use my username and the password I created. Alright, so now to run any SQL commands, you will in SQLPlus, you'll need to start that out with an @ . So the name of that command is figure 46 SQL. Let me go ahead and swell this up. Now notice what happens. Now those tables were already out there, so those drop commands actually worked, and then it created the tables for us. So we will exit out of that and see what we have in our directory again. And you'll notice that we've got this output.log, and you can view the contents of that by doing a concatenate or cat output.log, and it will show you the output of that. So again, it's really important that you guys start off all of your SQL files with a spool command, and now you'll need to give that output different names. Obviously, you don't want to use output.log every time because you'll be overwriting the same file. So, for instance, you may want to use like for the SQL, you could do create database for the initial SQL file, and then for the SQL files that you guys use to input data, you can use data entry.log or whatever you want to call it. But you'll need that once we start doing those SQL commands. Now we're still a few weeks early, but I really need you guys to get out there and make sure that you can create this Nova account and do some of these things, because once we start writing the SQL commands, we like I said, we don't have a lot of time because it's week 6 and there's not a lot of time to work out those problems. So give that a shot, and let me know if you have any problems, and I appreciate it.